You know what? When we look back, like we're thrilled. We're absolutely thrilled. I mean, I think I was just reminded that we were picked dead last to finish dead last, and what we did in terms of I think how we played, and then obviously the results. We're thrilled with it. We know we have a long way to go, especially with a loss of a Casey Bailey, which we expected to have coming back. So that certainly doesn't help. But we really think that we have the right foundation and we're going the right way. That's for sure. We've exceeded a lot of expectations in terms of results, and then there's some areas that the coaches look at that we've exceeded expectations in terms of performance, what we can control. So we know we're not, we're certainly nowhere near where we want to be eventually, but a lot further along than we thought we would be. Make sense?
Guy, what is the summer like for you guys? A lot of programs do different things in the summer. What for you and your coaching staff mainly, what do you guys do?
Well, it's actually a lot of recruiting, unfortunately. And I can't speak to other sports, but hockey's gotten to be where there's so much summer hockey, so many showcases, so much of all of that it is a lot of work. I think we probably travel more in the summer than we do the winter. We really try to, in between all the travel, it's really important to us that we get together as an entire staff several times to evaluate and go over everything that happened in the year, like everything, every little corner of it, and see if we can improve it and in so many ways. And that takes a long time. I think to do it right, you really have to dissect it. And so we try to make sure that in between travels, when we happen to be or we have to schedule it, that we're all back in State College at once, that we really try to take advantage and do that.
What's that like for Fumi? She's been different places. She's head coach's wife. What's this been like for her? Not only State College, but it's a job. It's a career for her too.
Yeah, fortunately, she doesn't know any different. I think it'd be one thing if I started out one profession and then switched once we got married. I think that would be challenging. This is all we know as a family. This is all we know in our relationship. I didn't sugarcoat it in the beginning and try to say, well, it's not going to be that many hours, and it's not going to be this, it's not going to be that. We embrace it, and I think that's how you have to be for it to work. We embrace the lifestyle that comes with coaching. We embrace having the players over to our house on Thursday night. We embrace that our kids are growing up in a college community, which I would make the argument is no better place to raise kids. They're being introduced to the importance of academics every day, whether subtle or whether it direct. I think it's great. Is there challenges that come from it? Yeah. When every time I leave the house, I'm the head football coach. So it's nice to go out to dinner. It's also challenging when people come up. You're trying to just have date night with your wife, and people are excited and they want to come up and say hi, and that's great. And they come up and say, Coach, I don't want to interrupt, but I'm going to. And that's the fine line is how do I make sure that every person I come in contact with leaves with a positive experience, and also make sure that I'm being the type of husband and the type of father I need to be, and that's the challenge. So it's a challenge. I think that's probably why I prefer to eat at home and go into the man cave, when possible, and bunker down with my family, because in my house, I'm just Dad and I'm just James. I also want to make sure that our children are having as normal of experience as possible. They're making friends for the right reasons and all those types of things. So we're sensitive to it, but we also know how unbelievably blessed we are and how unbelievably fortunate we are to be where we're at. And when we're here. So, but you're right. It's everybody's got to be committed to it, and everybody's got to be comfortable with it because it affects all of us. The funny thing I would say is that's where developing talent and developing depth on your team, so you can have some convincing wins. I mean, how many convincing wins have we had in the last 5 to 10 years? Where guys are getting significant reps at the end of games. That's really valuable. That also factors into scheduling. There's a lot of discussion about scheduling. I mean, the best teams You know, their number twos at the quarterback position, as well as a lot of positions, have gotten a lot of reps in games, not only from a scheduling perspective, but also the way they've developed their roster and the way they're able to play and be able to play in a convincing manner early in games. I think those things are important. Being able to get, whether it's Trace or whether it is Tommy, some reps, some live game reps this year is going to be really, really important, and not necessarily when they have to have them, you know, when they had to go into the game because of a situation that arises. I think that's really valuable. I think how you structure practice. You can't get 3 quarterbacks ready to play on a Saturday, but you better have 2 quarterbacks ready to play on a Saturday. And that's the fine line of how you break practice up and how you break reps up and things like that. I think the other thing kind of goes into this conversation as well is how much better are we going to be that we have a 3 deep at almost every position. So what does that mean? That means you're able to keep a first team and a second team up with the offense and the defense, and be able to send talented scholarship players possibly to the scout team, which are going to challenge our offense, defense, and special teams to compete every single day at practice, because there's legitimate players. You know, I watched that 30 for 30 series on Miami, on the U. And you guys know I don't usually talk about other programs and other teams, but I think it's specific in this one. I think that one team, you know, they had like 38 NFL players on it. Now, you know, you talk about what those practices were like, and that's what we want to do. We want to create the most competitive environment we possibly can so that our practices become more competitive, hopefully, than some of the games we play. That's really the environment that you're looking for, and that's going to bring out the best in everybody. It's just like I told this last recruiting class. They're going to buy into this system so much that they're going to help us go recruit guys to take their jobs this year. You know, that's the mentality. Everybody buy into that. You know, we don't want to recruit guys that want to go to another school to avoid competing. We want guys that want to come here to compete because they know it's going to bring the best out in them, and it's going to bring the best out in our program. So I think that developing talent is so important. And we try to do a lot of those things, whether it's spring ball, whether it's bowl prep, whether it's competing for jobs early in camp. And then once you get into the season where you're not able to do that, that's where the Thursday scrimmages that we try to have with the redshirt guys, where it's a live scrimmage to evaluate those guys and have some fun with it. Watch them compete with a pretty vanilla playbook.